I would like to begin with a poem in old-fashioned meter. Be good to us, and we'll be good to you.
Welcome to the Failure Blog. I'm Taylor J. McBride, and today I'll introduce you to ebook cover creation. And after this video, you'll know the major mistake most first-time authors make when they create their ebook cover, a basic layout of Amazon's two largest self-publishing tools, and finally, but not least, the specifications your cover is required to meet to be accepted by Amazon. So let's just jump right in. I'm assuming that you, the viewer, are interested in publishing your own book. But what I don't know is where you are in the process of doing so. I vaguely remember being taught in high school English that the title's the last thing you should do, right? Consequently, that would mean for an aspiring author to self-publish their book, such as you, the cover would be the last thing you would do. I'm actually going to suggest that you start the whole process by doing your cover, assuming you have a good deal of the content of your book written. But the reason I think that you shouldn't wait until the very end to do your cover is that once you have a cover, Amazon will allow you to put your book live in the Kindle marketplace for pre-ordering. So it does require that you submit something into the content section of their self-service dashboard, but you don't actually have to submit the final draft of what the content will be. It could just be an outline. And for me, a lot of times, just submitting the cover and an outline is an acceptable way to start the process. We're going to look at two different ways to create an ebook cover that are free. Then I'll show you a better way to create cover art with using Adobe Illustrator. But ultimately, whichever way we go about it, the cover's destination is here, kdp.com. This website is the gateway to Amazon Kindle's ebook marketplace. First motion of business, if it pleases the court, I move that you create a KDP account. It's not hard. And even though we won't discuss paperbacks here, you can publish paperbacks as well through KDP. But when you're creating your account, one option you have is just to use the credentials from any Amazon account that you already have, or you can make a separate email just for KDP. It's your pierogi. The Kindle Direct Publishing dashboard, first three options, very straightforward. Bookshelf has all my books in it. Reports, community, and then we have KDP Select, which contains author services, marketing, author bios, sort of little bonus features that are part of Amazon's Kindle Direct Publishing package. Your dashboard is where you go to upload a book. Reports is where you go to look at how many books you've sold. It's very easy to use. This whole thing, very easy to use. The help section explains everything we'll cover today about creating an ebook cover, file type, dimension, size, color, borders for white cover art, which essentially means don't do that. Because if you do, you can't see the background because the background color of Amazon itself is white. So if you do that, your book won't be distinct. It won't be distinguished. It won't be obvious. How to upload your cover, which is going to direct you to this page. You go to create a Kindle book, create new title. We'll go to that later. But for now, we're going to go ahead and get started going through, as of the time this was recorded, the specs. The ideal and suggested ratio for your cover is 1.6 height to 1 width. So we're at 1,000 pixels wide. The suggestion, it should be 1,600 pixels in height. 2,500 pixels being the minimum height, and ideal dimensions 2560 by 1600. Can you hear the quotation marks around ideal? The maximum is 10,000 by 10,000. KDP only accepts 2 file types, TIFFs and JPEGs. So if you don't know what a TIFF is, go ask your mother. We're going to focus on JPEGs here. I'm going to show you, as I stated earlier, 2 free ways to make your cover. Then I'm going to show you how I do it, or how you can do it in Adobe Illustrator, which is the preferred method. And before I even get into that, I'm going to show you ACX, which stands for Audio Shucks. It stands for something, but it's where you publish audiobooks. Okay, so now that we're talking about ACX, we're going to talk about the difference between a distributor and a marketplace. ACX being a distributor, unlike Kindle. Kindle Direct Publishing, when we upload a book there, it can then be found in the very same place for purchase, which is illustrative of why Kindle is a marketplace. But ACX doesn't itself have a store. Instead, it distributes your audiobook to audible.com, iTunes, other audiobook marketplaces. So some websites are both a marketplace and a distributor. Some are just a distributor like ACX. We're going to take a break from our regularly scheduled programming, and we're going to look at this Venn diagram here to try to understand a little bit better the difference between distributors and marketplaces. And before we jump into it, throughout this course, I've been showing tips. And anytime I show a tip, I think that it's important. And I would personally love it if you would actually write those down or put them in a Microsoft Word file or otherwise commit them to memory. But when we go over this Venn diagram, it's not actually meant to be exact. So don't worry about writing down the names of the distributors or the marketplaces or getting caught up. We're going to use it simply to illustrate a point about the landscape so that once you go out to publish your book, you know what sort of website you're on and what your ultimate goals are to distribute your book to the markets that you want it to be in. Part of the reason why I say that is these companies and self-publishing as an industry is ever evolving. So by the time you're watching this video, one of these marketplace-only websites may have expanded, as so many of them have, to now allow authors to directly upload their book, or perhaps one of the aggregators, one of the larger distributors, has added that marketplace to its list of websites it distributes to. So once again, don't get caught up in the exact information. This is just to help you understand the sort of flow that your book takes from being uploaded to being available for purchase in marketplaces. So a distributor, for our purposes, is any site that's going to allow us to upload a PDF or EPUB or otherwise upload a raw file, and it's going to end up for sale somewhere on the internet. BookBaby is a great example, but I'd just like to point out this is a fee-based service website that could cost you over $1,000 and will produce for you a professional grade end product. You get what you pay for. Compared to Draft to Digital, which is a free site, but if there's any mistakes in the metadata, the formatting, the cover, exactly what you put in will end up on whatever marketplaces you designate for Draft to Digital to distribute to. So you get what you pay for. It's free. But neither BookBaby nor Draft to Digital have an actual store. You cannot go to bookbaby.com and purchase ebooks. Whereas the marketplaces that we see here, Gardener's Book World, these are websites where people can purchase books, but you as an author can't actually self-publish your book there. It has to arrive there from a distributor. As I stated earlier, these marketplaces change their terms all the time. iBooks, the iBook store of Apple, became easier over time to publish at. Oh, I will say Overdrive distributes only to public libraries. So it's it's a marketplace only for libraries to purchase books. But for the purposes of this course, we're going to focus more on those websites that fit into both categories. They allow authors to upload, and they also sell books themselves. Barnes & Nobles and their Nook platform obviously is a major seller of ebooks. And they also allow, through their subsidiary site, Pubit, authors to publish directly to Barnes & Nobles. Pubit is a sub-company of Barnes & Noble, just like Kindle Direct Publishing is a part of Amazon. A major difference between the two is that Amazon does not allow other distributors to publish to Amazon. You have to go through Kindle Direct Publishing. And also through their KDP Select program, if you sign up for it and promote your ebook through the Kindle store using KDP, you actually give away your right to publish the same material in any other marketplace. They have sort of a monopoly on ebook marketplace. Given that this course is called Self-Publishing 101, we're going to focus mostly on what does it take to get on Amazon into the Kindle store. Because once you understand those basics, a lot of them are going to apply if you decide to distribute your book more widely. But a very interesting site as well is Smashwords, started by Mark Coker, who is a self-published author himself. It's a bit of a by self-published authors for self-published authors website. And what's interesting is they have a large amount of requirements to upload your book, but once it passes their specifications, it's very easy for them to distribute it to any number of other marketplaces, which they will. The decision where to publish your book and how is totally up to you. I'm not going to necessarily, other than my own experience, my own personal opinions for my books, I'm not going to advocate one path or the other, but just know that for the purposes of this course, our goal is to publish to Amazon, to the Kindle store. But note, we will follow many of the directions as if we were going to publish on Smashwords, because if we can successfully meet and learn all of their requirements, we will learn a lot more by following a document known as the Smashwords Style Guide, which is a bit of overkill, but it is a wonderful source, and we will follow it in this course. So let's get back to the regularly scheduled programming. But more importantly, what are the requirements for a cover in order for ACX to distribute your audiobook? First of all, audiobook covers must be a true square, a perfect square, not a rectangular image. So what that means in the grand scheme of things is we're now realizing we're going to have two different covers, one for our audiobook and one for our ebook, because there'll be different sizes. And it just so happens that audiobooks are by far the fastest growing, most burgeoning area of self-publishing anything. I'm telling you right now, you can potentially make more money off an audiobook that you don't even work hard on than you can off of 3 Kindle ebooks that you work very hard on. And I'll get more into why that is. But for now, so the key mistake that first-time publishing authors make when they make their ebook cover is they don't consider the audiobook cover. They say, oh, I'll worry about that later. But what you end up with is a file that's fixed in dimensions, and the text is in certain locations, and it can't be moved. You don't have a manipulable file. So when you later down the line decide to transfer your book from ebook into a audiobook to become way more profitable, you have to start over creating a brand new cover from scratch. So what I'm here to tell you is that lesson number 1, you should start with your audiobook cover, or at the very least, you should consider both the audiobook and the ebook cover simultaneously. Make them together at the same time and save yourself headache down the road. All right, so while we're at it, let's just go ahead and take the mustard off the hot dog. The reason why audiobooks can potentially be much more profitable is because Audible.com has something called the Audible Listeners Program, which is a program where a person pays $14.99 per month, and in exchange, they get 1 token per month to download any audiobook they want from Audible.com. If your book is the first book that a person uses their original Audible listeners token for. So basically, if they become a new Audible listener and buy your book first, you get a $50 bounty. One of those is worth 30 sales of an ebook. And in my personal experience, they have been more lucrative on audiobooks that I don't even particularly invest a huge amount of time to create, because the real bulk of the work is creating the ebook. And then the audiobook, I'll show you guys later down the line in other videos how you can use the ebook as a skeleton to hire a professional narrator. And it's a very short distance from ebook completion to stumble across the finish line to have an audiobook as well. So this concludes our basic points of the video. Thank you guys for watching. We're going to continue moving forward. In the very next video, we're actually going to look at the technical creation of an ebook cover and how to do that.
Jeez, this tune upon fire. Jeez, you don't know.